we have some movie and TV news to discuss today regarding Cobra Kai, the A24 project, Crystal Lake, some Marvel news, and a few other things to go over. So sit back and let's dive on in. First things first, Cobra Kai season 6 was recently announced, and personally, I love this show. I think the fighting scenes are incredibly choreographed and fun to watch while sort of paying homage to the old classic karate films, and I'm excited for it and to see where it all ends, because the new Karate Kid film will be out in May of next year, and I wonder if anything from the show is going to tie into that film. Now, before, the report was that it wasn't going to tie in, that this movie was kind of going to be like a reboot in its own little universe, and that the guys from the Cobra Kai show were not going to be attached. But now with Ralph Macchio being casted in the new film alongside Jackie Chan, we know that the show is most likely going to tie in some way. But another thing that I do have to mention is the release schedule that they announced for the show, and I'm not really that big of a fan. This is going to be 15 episodes separated into 3 parts, and in between each part is going to be about a 2-month gap. And I do realize that there is 15 episodes, but I feel like you should have at least went week by week. Seeing what happened with Invincible and how the gap not only between the first and second season, but also then the middle of the second season affected the discussion around it, I don't think that this is a good strategy. And even though I do love this show, I don't know how widely loved it is or if it'll be able to maintain its discussion value in between for those 2 months. But we get the first 3 episodes starting July 18th. What do you think? Are you excited? Next up, we got some behind the scenes photos of The Rock and his training for the movie Smashing Machine, which will see The Rock play Mark Kerr, a former UFC champion, and we'll be following some of his accomplishments as well as some of his shortcomings during his career. Now, I do think this one is kind of weird. Mark Kerr is 55 years old right now. The Rock is 52. And if we're supposed to be following Kerr in his past, The Rock is kind of a weird choice because they're about the same age. And I mean, yeah, he looks good, but I mean, he don't look like no youngin. I'm not too sure of what the budget for this film is, so maybe they're doing some kind of de-aging thing or whatever the case may be, but I do think it's still a little bit weird. But we'll have to see. Rock is getting that training in, so I'm in so far just for the action. But let me know what you think about Smashing Machine. Are you familiar with Mark Kerr and his reign in the UFC? And are you going to watch the film? Are you excited about it? Let me know. Now, if you don't know, earlier this week it was reported that the A24 project Crystal Lake was scrapped. However, immediately the next day, Bloody Disgusting came out and said that the plug has not been pulled. Instead, it looks like maybe they're going through some behind the scenes changes. And you know, with the rights to Friday the 13th being split and kind of everywhere right now, it's kind of expected that there would be some changes maybe to the script and what their overall vision is, and trying to figure out what's going to work and what's not. And though I am pretty positive on the project, it's so early in production that I'm just sitting back waiting to see what happens. Now, moving over to some Disney stuff, it has been reported that Tron Ares starring Jared Leto has wrapped up filming. Set to release on October 10th, 2025, this is the 3rd installment in the franchise, and set to see an AI from the Tron world make its way into the real world and trying to take over. I don't know how excited people are going to be. I'm excited. My dad showed me the original Tron movie when I was really young, and I really love Tron Legacy. I think it's an underrated film, and it does look like we will be getting Jeff Bridges back for this 3rd movie, and that's pretty dope. I don't really think it makes sense to have a Tron film without the Flynns, and whether we'll see Garrett Hedlund reprise his role as Sam Flynn has yet to be confirmed, but I hope we do. Jeff Bridges, he's a bit up there, and his character did die at the end of Tron Legacy, so I'm not too sure in what capacity Jeff Bridges' role will be for this film. But Sam Flynn ended the last movie in a little bit more of an acceptance in his role as owner of Encom, and I find it really hard to believe that he wouldn't be in this battle against this AI who has come from the grid to take over the real world. But we'll have to see on October 10th of next year. How are you feeling about Tron Ares? Okay, we got some Marvel news for the next 2 reports. First, in which it looks like we finally know who is going to be playing Galactus in the upcoming Fantastic Four film. Yesterday, The Hollywood Reporter came out with an exclusive scoop that Ralph Ineson, who I only recognized from Game of Thrones, has been cast as Galactus in Marvel's Fantastic Four movie. Now, I don't really know too much about Ralph Ineson and his work, and we have been wondering about Galactus for quite a while. We had a rumor at one point that it was going to be Antonio Banderas who's being looked at for the role, and for a quick moment I wasn't too sure how I felt about Ralph Ineson being Galactus, and I wasn't too sure if he was the right pick. Galactus definitely needs to have an intimidating presence and a voice that is just unique and godly. And you know, I had to look at some clips of Game of Thrones and his roles, and as far as voice goes, I do not think this is a bad option. I kind of think that Galactus will probably mostly be a CGI character, kind of like Josh Brolin as Thanos, and that I think could work out just fine. So as far as I'm concerned, as of right now, that's a dub. But how are you feeling about the casting for Galactus? You think Ralph Ineson is a good choice? Let me know. And lastly, I want to talk about a scoop that came out from the Twitter account My Time to Shine Hello, who came to Twitter and said that Chris Evans will be reprising his role as Steve Rogers, Captain America, in which we will be following Steve Rogers return the Infinity Stones to their proper place in time after the events of Avengers Endgame. And now this has been something that fans have been talking about for a long time, since Endgame. I think that is a story that a lot of people are curious in and really want to see. It's highly speculated that Chris Evans is returning anyway and has signed with Marvel to be in projects like the Secret Wars. And either way, if this proves out to be true, I think that's a dub. I'm really missing the OGs in the Marvel universe, so I'm excited for it. But let me know what you think. That is all we got today regarding some of the movie and TV news. Let me know your thoughts and how you're feeling. If you're geeked up about any of these reports, be sure to hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe button so you stay updated on future videos. I gotta head out, but y'all be smooth, man. And remember, stay geeked up.